All right, so hello, welcome. My name is Rob Loach. I work with Calamuna, pushing forwards a lot of the research and innovation stuff at Calamuna. But today we are not talking about me, we are talking about Drupal ECA, or Events, Conditions, and Actions. Who here has used ECA? Excellent, got a few hands. I assume there's a few virtual hands in the Zooms as well. So thank you all for coming. So ECA, what is ECA? Event, condition, and action. It's a no-code solution to setting up some advanced custom workflows within Drupal itself. It comes out of the box with Drupal CMS. So if you install Drupal CMS, you get ECA. It gives you a really nice graphical user interface to create what they call models. So you get a nice little interface and models you can create directly within your Drupal website. Yeah, it's very powerful. Think of it like some old timers might remember the triggers and actions module. I see Chris. Chris is laughing here. Or the rules module as well. Some of this stuff was inspired by some of those concepts. Yeah, but it's 2025 now, so ECA is the thing. I could talk about it for hours, but usually just a visualization gives you a greater sense of what the ideas it accomplishes are. So you can see in this use case, in this model, when a user logs in, it checks whether the user is an editor or whether the user is an author. It gives you a different welcome message and then redirects you to different pages depending on the context of the user. And it gives you a nice little visualization of what that looks like. But why do we want this? I find a lot of the times when you're building a Drupal website, there's like some simple custom action that you want to take place on, like you want to display a certain message to a user when they submit a form or when they log in. ECA targets those different use cases as well as gives the user, the site builder, a really nice user interface to construct those workflows. What it means is that, like, rather than having a whole bunch of like 50 different custom modules that are all like 10 lines long, you can abstract that off to just a ECA model and get a lot done directly through the UI. And there's really nice documentation as well that hopefully we can check out later on. I do want to make a shout out to the ECA team who made this happen. They've put together a crazy amount of work and integrations to have these models work. So big shout out to them. I'm most impressed with the documentation and how far they've come with integrating it with Drupal CMS and the actions within Drupal CMS too. So shout out. All right, so what does this all look like? Let's take a look. So first of all, you have to install the ECA module. It comes directly with Drupal CMS. So if you get set up with Drupal CMS, out of the box, you got it. Otherwise, use Composer and then install it as you will. When you do look at the extend screen in Drupal, you will see a whole bunch of different ECA modules available. You can pick and choose which integrations you want when you get started. The configuration screen looks like this. What we will be focused on today is just this model screen and that big blue button that you see, the add new model button. Okay, so when you click the add new model button, you get something that looks like this. I'll be talking about some of these concepts just to give you a brief overview. If you have any questions, feel free to yell, raise your hand. I have a habit of talking quickly, so definitely speak up if you have any questions. And Aidan, you're in the Zooms too. You got the excellent question. Fantastic. Okay, so there's I'll I'll talk about 4 concepts here. First, we will cover events represented by circles. So these are essentially a starting point for the model that you're setting up. This can be like a user has logged in. That means that the user login event is triggered, and that's the starting point, the big circle that you see in the model. It can be things like an entity is saved or a piece of content is saved. A web form is submitted, configuration screen is saved. You can even have it trigger on cron jobs too. So like daily have this action take place. Pretty much anything. It's very, these events are extremely versatile. We can pretty much hook into anything within Drupal and have it do a thing. The next part that you see often are conditions. These are essentially just lines represented by lines. By default, when you have a line connecting 2 different nodes in your model, it'll just go. It'll just do it. It passes the condition, but you can add certain use cases onto these lines. They can be like the user is of a certain role, the entity is of a certain type. So you could be like, when a node is created, make sure that the entity is a blog post. It can also check different conditions for tokens as well. Directly within the token module, if you have like a special token that you've created yourself, you can check the value of those tokens. And when the condition is met, it moves on and passes off to the action. So actions are represented by a big rounded rectangle. When the event is triggered and all conditions are met, the action is evoked. To select which action to take place, you'll want to look at this template section at the bottom right there. Templates are what's used to set what kind of actions take place. It could be like display a message to the user, send an email, overwrite a field within some certain content that is being saved. Yeah, pretty much anything. The last concept that I want to talk about are gateways. Gateways are seemingly mostly just presentational, a way to kind of structure the model so that it doesn't get too convoluted and complex. It's a way just to like clean up the presentation of the model so that it doesn't look so cluttered. Yeah, and it's a good way to group different conditions. You can see in this case, there's a gateway that's set up saying, is the user an administrator? Then do this. Otherwise, if the user is not an administrator, do this other thing. So it's a good way just to group those different condition sets. All right, so let's get into what this actually looks like. Any questions popped up so far?
I have one.
Yeah.
So have you or Aiden seen anything with the AI? Because here's the thing. So now we can get into some pretty crazy stuff, right? So we can get to know the assistant to start running ECA, right? Depending on the decision it makes based on. So
yes.
we need to basically create a whole bunch of ifs everywhere, right?
Mm-hmm.
So have you seen or even seen anything?
I haven't tried. There's the agent that's experimental agent that's in there by default.
Inside ECA.
Inside the AI.
So the agent is if you want the chat agent to be able to create ECA models.
Yes.
So you can say, create a model that when I do this thing, triggers this other thing, these conditions, and it will actually the module.
The module, so not to trigger the module based on.
But there is ECA integration, so you can say within my ECA model, maybe one of the actions is do this AI. So there's that kind of integration. The other
Yeah.
Integration, right?
And there's
Yeah, and you'll see as we go through some of this, there's different events that you can set up. Like I mentioned, the cron, you could in theory create a cron job to check different conditions based on AI. and then take action based on what AI says. So it'll be really, you could set up your own agents and assistants and really cool stuff. Yeah, so here you'll see, whoa, that's the layout here looks kind of funky, but it does give you a good sense of what things look like. Yeah, probably zoomed in plenty, which is fantastic. Could we go full screen here? How do we full screen this?
Let me see here. You want to full screen this part?
Yeah, full screen,
Here,
excellent.
and you
Yeah,
wanna
super full
zero in?
screen.
Let me see here. I think it is zoom out. Yeah, it is.
Yeah, excellent. Or
Yeah,
like,
no, it's just.
how do you go
here.
full screen in the window, get rid of the top part, maybe?
I don't think we.
So you'll see in this user interface, there's a toolbar on the left-hand side, and this is how you start creating your different ECA models. What'd you say? Command zero, command zero.
Yeah, I tried this already. So
Okay, that's fine.
something like
We'll just roll with this. So you will remember that the circles represent events that are triggered. So I'll move my mouse, grab a circle and stick it on the screen. You'll see this is the start of an event. When I'm creating the event, I first want to choose which template to base this off of. So I'll yeah, that's fantastic. But I'll stick in let's say event creation maybe, or event save. I want to you know what, I don't like this ECA. We'll start a new one. Okay, I'll create a new event.
Yes.
There we go. And then select a template. This is going to be let's choose the oh my gosh, I can't.
Is my mouse too fast?
Yeah,
I can change that. Do you want to stop and change?
Oh no,
Because-
that's fine.
Yeah, I keep my mouse.
get it. There we go. We can scroll now. We have scrolling. The technology is here. I'll choose the, let's say, insert content entity, maybe. Pre-save is always a good one. Yeah, let's choose pre-save content entity. So this event is going to be taking place whenever we save a new entity. And here you can choose which type of entity we want to save. I will select, let's say, article. So this, what this event says is that whenever a new article is being pre-saved or being saved, it'll trigger. Based off of this, maybe we want to have it display a message, something very basic. So I'll select append task. And now we have a task or an action that we're taking place on. In this case, I'll call this, say, display a message. There's some general information that we can set for the task. I'll say display message. And under templates, again, we choose a template to set the initial conditions for the action that's being taken. I'll say display a message to user. If we can scroll, we'll be able to set custom properties, but we're super zoomed in. Let me try zooming out. There we go. Got it.
you got it.
All right.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, we have
There you
display
go.
a message to the user. Custom properties let you choose what that message will be. Oops. So we'll say, hello, user. And now we have, now we can't see anything. But we have a very basic action where we have pre-save events entity. And it's going to display a message when we create a article. So I'll save this. And now I'll go back to the content page and we'll create a new piece of content, an article. Hello. Put in some, oh no, there we go, save. Hey, so we have our custom message appearing here, directly from our ECA that we made. You will note that this will be triggered on every kind of article that's created. So if we go back to the configuration screen and get to the ECA workflow, go back to edit. We can set different conditions, again, using the line, which is allows you to change different conditions. And this, I'll choose templates, and perhaps we want to only display this message if the user is of a certain role. So we can say role of current user, user role, let's say administrator. And we can put in any kind of description here as well. User is admin. Cool. Yeah, now we have a very basic ECA model that will display a custom message when a user creates a article. Yeah, a lot of things you can build off of here. So we could even add more actions and more conditions, more gateways. You could imagine that this could get very complex after a while. There is this layout model button, which will attempt to just clean up the model, which is very nice. Yeah, so any questions so far?
Do you guys know if ECK, so is that any really relation to rules back in the day? Was like they basically got rules, they totally rewrote, or is it anything related, do you know?
So as I understand it, when Jurgen and the rest of the team were working on some kind of like a rules hadn't been through Drupal 9 yet. So they started thinking, okay, well, let's figure out some, like 2022 version or whatever. Like how can we have sort of a next generation approach to this? I think you're going to say doing something with BFan. Specific customer that wanted to use that, and so was able to sort of like build this visual way of mapping out the logic. But yeah, this the meeting really started like originally they had been thinking of this as what figured out some new ways of achieving some of the same ends.
But none of the rules module were reused in this ECK.
No,
It's all real code, right?
Yeah, it's all
Amazing.
Yeah, this is the that conversation that you were talking about. Back in 2016, some of these ideas were talked about, just having a way to visualize rules, because your rules config could get extremely complicated and
That's right.
and really gross. So having a UI in order to just show what
Another question which I have is, so can we, as for the last conversation, can we ask AI agent to build the whole thing which we just saw? Or build like condition based.
So the answer is there's a merge request to let it do that. By all means, test that out, and if it works well for you, comment on the issue. Or if you run into weird paper cuts, then let the comment data in the issue to say here's some things that need to be fixed. But yeah, as a community, whatever we can do to help that move forward, I think it's going to be exciting.
Yeah, like that thing will be coming.
Oh yeah, for sure. And there's a whole bunch of similar integrations as well. You mentioned the AI agents. Yeah, being able to build out these ECA models would be really, really cool. There's also recipes integration there as well. You can export a ECA model directly to a recipe. It's also stored in config as well, so all of your source control is there whenever you save that model. There's other integrations. Meta tag is one nice one. So based on certain conditions, you can send things directly through meta tag to the header of the doc. Web form integration. Yeah, there's a huge list of integrations on the module page. Where else could you guys see this being used?
7 migration.
Yes, Drupal 7 migrations for sure. Yeah, being able to take old content and port it
Well,
over.
like, things that had to be implemented as custom modules in seven, and say, let's turn that into configuration.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I like where you're thinking here. Yeah, I was just doing some quick thinking on this. And a whole bunch of these like very small modules that are just like 2 or 3 hooks or services just could become simple ECA models that we export to either a recipe or to a config, like redirect 403 to user login, login destination, default user pages as well, different ways to show information when a user is logged in. Yeah, login toboggan, exactly.
Slides you right in, right? That's what it is to say. The name came, Lullaby said that white toboggan because it slides you right in.
Rabbit hole.
That's
Yeah.
that's very true.
No, for sure. Yeah. Yeah, so I really thought that was a really great use case for it. ECA possibly means using less modules on your site, which is always a good thing.
There is a question.
Yes, question. Yeah, so I'm really impressed with how far this has come. I'm really excited about the availability to expose some of this functionality, some of this custom workflow logics. Usually you had to reach out to like a developer or like push some code up to your site to handle a lot of these use cases. Being able to go through the UI and handle those is fantastic. I recommend checking out the module page, the ECAguide.org. I think we should just load this up really quick. They've done a fantastic job in documenting a lot of these concepts. There's like loops that they have lacking of documentation. So if you want to get involved with ECA, there is great opportunity there.
Is it a full release? I remember early on working on it and it was just like kind of early on. It's now like fully working or are they still developing?
There's definitely a lot more integrations that need help. So if you have an idea like more AI agents, certainly get involved. But it is part of Drupal CMS as like a stable release.
Stable version, right?
Yeah. They have a Slack. Yeah, so check it out.
One thing, the ECA guide actually also has a library in there, so if you want to see examples of like, if I want to do this thing, like what might that look like? That's a really cool thing to sort of.
Yeah,
like,
I remember
go
seeing
through
that. Do you know where that
and
is?
see a bunch of examples. I want to like demo to somebody, like, if it's something that looks more complicated, I've used it for that too, so that.
Library? Blue top nav.
Right there.
Oh yeah, here we go. Yeah, so some basic examples of how to use asynchronous view is export, calculated entity field. Oh, very cool. Yeah, I like the idea of being able to calculate a thing and then save it as a token that you can use elsewhere throughout the model. Yeah, very cool. And you could imagine setting up different agents like this. We were talking about AI, like setting up different agents to post out to social media, to take certain conditions on things, like a super crazy HubSpot thing. Yeah, fun stuff.
Man, Drupal was so powerful. Once you spend like an afternoon and we just did, and then we look from the beginning, from recipes to AI to ECA, it's just insane how much we have packed into this system in the past, what, 20, 25 now? I think
years.
I think isn't that 20? Yeah, I think it was 2000.